Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The President of Afghanistan, Ashraf Ghani, has been in office for 18 months now, never attracting quite as much attention in the West as his predecessor, Hamid Karzai. It may be good news that the world's paying less attention to Afghanistan, but there is a continued outflow of the country's citizens keen to escape to richer nations. A quarter of the Mediterranean Sea arrivals so far this year have been from Afghanistan. Well, the BBC's Yalda Hakim managed to get an interview with President Ashraf Ghani about the migrant problem. And she began by asking him why there's been an exodus of people from his country.
This is one of the most connected societies on earth because we became a country of refugees. Again, in Europe, in the United States, in North America, Australia, we have at least 1 million people who've settled. They have 1 million ties that bind them with others. So they pull. They've done extraordinarily well. We're very proud of our Afghans, who now are hyphenated Afghans. But that provides an aspiration. Particularly the social model in Europe, the social welfare model, the welfare state, is done well by Afghans. In Germany, for instance, they've done extraordinary things. The push factors are a war has been imposed on us. The departure of not just international troops, but their contractors took away 1 million upper middle class people with demand from the economy.
But this is a country where for 15 years a lot of blood and treasure has gone in to create a stable society.
Sure, but it's also created one of the most corrupt sets of institutional arrangements where a tiny elite was privileged at the expense. The inheritance of that is 41% of people living below poverty.
Is this a country at war?
Yes, it's a country that has become the platform for a regional and global war. We are at war, but we are not at civil war. The war between Afghans is a very small component of a regional and global war. Al-Qaeda, unfortunately, has gone deep and dark, but it's fully alive. Daesh is active here and has done atrocious things. And when I warned about the fear of Daesh, when I was inaugurated, it was ridiculed.
You said that this country would become a graveyard for Daesh.
That we will, but then we also have the greatest medium-term threat. Massive numbers of Pakistani Taliban are being transposed into our country.
Why then are Europeans sending Afghans back, saying that they're economic migrants, that they only come to Europe because of poverty, not war?
Europe is closing in. The social contract in Europe vis-à-vis refugees was articulated and turned into a law in a period of liberalism's heyday in the welfare strength. That model is unfortunately being renegotiated.
But there are also people fleeing persecution. I mean, 11,000 people were killed in this country in the last year.
Persecution, well, we need to understand. Did you ask the people of UK when Hitler was at his height in 1941 to abandon? Please understand, we have to make a commitment. 549 young men and women graduated from the military academy, 13 of them women. They are making a commitment to defend this country. Others on whom we have spent hundreds of millions of dollars want to leave under the slightest pressure. You need to have will. If you want to have a country, you need to have the will.
It's not the slightest pressure, though. I mean, the last year has seen the worst form of violence.
But is it better elsewhere?
Well, they seem to think so.
No, please
and
do not.
They're making that
Please
very dangerous journey.
The journey is made voluntarily. They're paying $10,000, $30,000. They are impoverishing their families in order to make that journey, because that journey was based on false assumptions. We are under attack. Do we stand up for our right to breathe, for our right to live, or do we pack up and go? This is an existential choice. Countries do not survive by their best attempting to flee. So I have no sympathy. My goal is to make sure that my people live with dignity, with hope, and with determination. If we don't stand up in the face of the threat and the threats are very real. My life is threatened every day. You know, I go to different parts of Afghanistan.
But you have the protection that other Afghans don't.
You think rockets are, when rockets are fired, that you have protection against it? When bombs are thrown at you, you have protection against it? If I had that sense, I would surround myself in the palace and never step out. But I go constantly. None of my movements is without risk.
President Ghani, thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course. Pleasure.
President of Afghanistan talking to Yolda Hakim there.
I've been getting